You are listening to the Cookbook Love Podcast with Maggie Green, episode number 381.
Welcome to the Cookbook Love Podcast, a podcast that celebrates cookbook readers, buyers, collectors, writers, and clubs. And now your host, cookbook author, culinary dietitian, and cookbook writing coach, Maggie Green.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Cookbook Love Podcast. Merry Christmas, and I am excited to be here in my cookbook bunker this morning. Obviously not recording this on Christmas Day, but close enough that I am enjoying so much the spirit of the season, Advent, and quiet winter morning. We really did have snow last night. And I'm getting ready to head to the kitchen here after I finish recording this episode to bake some Christmas cookies and enjoy a nice quiet morning here at home. But as they say, one of the most important things to do in the morning is the thing that you need to do most first, and that is record this episode for you. I'm going to make an attempt to record this Christmas episode without any redos or without any stopping, restarting. Hopefully Scott won't have to do a ton of editing in order to send you the message that I want to send you today. So first of all, cookbooks are why we are here. Cookbooks bring us together as a community of people, many who I've never even met, but who listen to this show on a regular basis. And it is our shared love of cookbooks, the writing, the reading, the collecting that bring us together. It's a shared love that brings us to this podcast. It certainly brings me to the microphone every week, talking to you and talking to all the lovely cookbook authors that I have interviewed over the past 7 years. I am so grateful for this platform, grateful to be able to connect with you, share with you, and help you and serve you and be here as someone who is a voice of encouragement, a voice of hopefully some fun, a voice of cookbooks, and something that we all love. And so I want to, first of all, just say that and think about this community and this shared love of cookbooks bringing us together. The second thing is the fruit of this love that we have, that we share here, is friendship, people writing books, people who are listening that have published books. And this all starts with this love that we have for each other, for ourselves, for our topics, for what we want to write about. And we can actually use this spark of an idea to create and manifest and bring to life a book from a love that we have for our topic. And I think that's the most fascinating thing. When I think about books, I do think about them truly as fruit of something that we create. And I think that they're an incredible thing. I always am thinking about books, reading books, collecting books, writing books, talking about books, fiction, nonfiction, cookbooks, one of my very favorite things. So when we think about books, I did want to share seasonally a couple of books that really are books I turn to in the kitchen this time of year, but only at this time of year. And I maybe have mentioned them a couple podcasts ago, but I do want to bring them up again because we have used them and we use them every year. And I keep all my Christmas recipes and magazines and books kind of in one section of my cookbook bunker so that around the middle of November, I can go pull them all out and start looking at them and feeling the spirit of the season and getting inspired. And the first one is Christmas at River Cottage by Lucy Brazier, with seasonal notes and recipes from Hugh Fearnley Whittingstall. This is a British book, but it has lovely photos, ideas for wintertime, making Christmas cards, tree decorations, Christmas wreaths, gift wrap, and then, of course, a lot of really beautiful recipes. And we always, I shouldn't say we, my husband Warren makes a Christmas pudding, and that's a very British thing to do. And we always think about, if you've watched All Creatures Great and Small on PBS, Mrs. Hall is the cook, and she always makes Christmas pudding. And so they had a great PBS special all about the Christmas episodes of All Creatures Great and Small, if you haven't watched it. But anyway, so the pudding is always a feature of Christmas, and it contains dried fruits, orange peel, lemon peel, nuts, pumpkin seeds, and then you soak it and you let it sit. And then Christmas night, when you serve it, you light it with some rum or brandy and flame it, and then eat it as dessert. Sometimes people serve it with a creme anglaise, like a thin custard. I also think of going to the Christmas Carol to see the play, and Christmas pudding is a big part of that play when the family's getting together for Christmas dinner. And so this is a beautiful Christmas book, Christmas at River Cottage, again, by Lucy Brazier. So the other one is Advent, Festive German Bakes to Celebrate the Coming of Christmas by Anya Dunk. And this book is an amazing book also from a different perspective, but talks a lot about just the baking that takes place in Advent. There's beautiful photos in this, wonderful baking recipes, and the chapter dividers are these lovely woodcuts or linoleum cut prints for the middle pages of the chapters, where they go from different chapter to different chapter. So I've been reading that book, and today I'm going to make their Christmas schnapps, which is and I'll have it ready for Christmas, but it is a vodka infused drink that you keep to mix with, they say, with orange juice, or you could mix it with coffee. It contains coffee beans, vanilla, orange, and some demerara sugar. So it's a sweeter, festive, cinnamony, coffee-y flavored infusion, and I look forward to making that. I haven't made it before. I've made the spiced almonds, the cinnamon stars. We've made stollen, but a lot of really beautiful things in this book titled Advent. So those are the books that I have been enjoying and enjoy every year when it comes to Christmas and Advent. And thank you so much to those authors for writing those books. And I think it's amazing how books impact us. They become part of what we do, part of who we are, part of our seasonal cooking, and just incredible that they have shared these books. So check those out if you haven't checked them out before. And then this shared love in these books made me realize that really the message of this holiday that we're celebrating, there's a secular level of the holiday. We've got trees and gifts and decorations and food. But what Christmas at its root is really all about is how the presence of love is found in people. And it's a saving love that descends upon us and walks with us. And it's like a friend that gives us strength and offers us forgiveness. Friends are people who don't expect perfection all the time. They're willing to forgive. And this presence of friendship and love through, of course, the Christ child is the image that we have at the root of what Christmas is all about. And I want to share with you a couple of things that really bring this topic to life for me. A couple of them I've mentioned before on the podcast, and a couple of them might be new. So the first is the story of Barrington Bunny in the book called The Way of the Wolf, The Gospel in New Images by Martin Bell. This is a story that was read on National Public Radio maybe 20 years ago. And I heard it one Christmas morning, and I've never forgotten it. And I had to even go out and find the book that contained this short story. And I thought I would share it with you today. So this is called Barrington Bunny. Once upon a time, in a large forest, there lived a very furry bunny. He had one lop ear, a tiny black nose, and unusually shiny eyes. His name was Barrington. Barrington was not really a very handsome bunny. He was brown and speckled, and his ears didn't stand upright, but he could hop, and he was, as I have said, very furry. In a way, winter is fun for bunnies. After all, it gives them an opportunity to hop in the snow and then turn around to see where they have hopped. So in a way, winter was fun for Barrington. But in another way, winter made Barrington sad. For you see, winter marked the time when all the animal families got together in their cozy homes to celebrate Christmas. He could hop, and he was very furry, but as far as Barrington knew, he was the only bunny in the forest. When Christmas Eve finally came, Barrington did not feel like going home all by himself, so he decided that he would hop for a while in the clearing in the center of the forest. Hop, hop, hippity hop. Barrington made tracks in the fresh snow. Hop, hop, hippity hop. Then he cocked his head and looked back at the wonderful designs he had made. Bunnies, he thought to himself, can hop, and they are very warm too because of how furry they are. But Barrington didn't really know whether or not this was true of all bunnies, since he had never met another bunny. When it got dark, too dark to see the tracks he was making, Barrington made up his mind to go home. On his way, however, he passed a large oak tree. High in the branches, there was a great deal of excited chattering going on. Barrington looked up. It was a squirrel family. What a marvelous time they seemed to be having. "Hello up there," called Barrington. "Hello down there," came the reply. "Having a Christmas party?" asked Barrington. "Oh, yes," answered the squirrels. "It's Christmas Eve, and everyone is having a Christmas party." "May I come to your party?" said Barrington softly. "Are you a squirrel?" "No." "What are you then?" "A bunny." "A bunny?" "Yes." "Well, how can you come to the party if you're a bunny? Bunnies can't climb trees." "That's true," Barrington said thoughtfully, "but I can hop, and I'm very furry and warm." "We're sorry," called the squirrels. "We don't know anything about hopping and being furry, but we do know that in order to come to our house, you have to be able to climb trees." "Oh, well," said Barrington, "Merry Christmas." "Merry Christmas," chattered the squirrels. And the unfortunate bunny hopped off toward his tiny house. It was beginning to snow when Barrington reached the river. Near the riverbank was a wonderfully constructed house of sticks and mud. Inside, there was singing. "It's the beavers," thought Barrington. "Maybe they will let me come to their party." And so he knocked on the door. "Who's out there?" called a voice. "Barrington Bunny," he replied. There was a long pause, and then a shiny beaver head broke the water. "Hello, Barrington," said the beaver. "May I come to your Christmas party?" asked Barrington. The beaver thought for a while, and then he said, "I suppose so. Do you know how to swim?" "No," said Barrington, "but I can hop, and I am very furry and warm." "Sorry," said the beaver. "I don't know anything about hopping and being furry, but I do know that in order to come to our house, you have to be able to swim." "Oh, well," Barrington muttered, his eyes filling with tears. "I suppose that's true. Merry Christmas." "Merry Christmas," called the beaver, and he disappeared beneath the surface of the water. Even being as furry as he was, Barrington was beginning to get cold, and the snow was falling so hard that his tiny bunny eyes could scarcely see what was ahead of him. He was almost home, however, when he heard the excited squeaking of field mice beneath the ground. "It's a party," thought Barrington, And suddenly he blurted through his tears, "Hello, field mice, this is Barrington Bunny. May I come to your party?" But the wind was howling so loudly, and Barrington was sobbing so much that no one heard him. And when there was no response at all, Barrington just sat down in the snow and began to cry with all his might. Bunnies, he thought, aren't any good to anyone. What good is it to be furry, and to be able to hop if you don't have any family on Christmas Eve? Barrington cried and cried. When he stopped crying, he began to bite on his bunny's foot. But he did not move from where he was sitting in the snow. Suddenly, Barrington was aware that he was not alone. He looked up and strained his shiny eyes to see who was there. To his surprise, he saw a great silver wolf. The wolf was so large and strong, and his eyes flashed fire. He was the most beautiful animal Barrington had ever seen. For a long time, the silver wolf didn't say anything at all. He just stood there and looked at Barrington with those terrible eyes. Then slowly and deliberately, the wolf spoke. "Barrington," he asked in a gentle voice, "why are you sitting in the snow?" "Because it's Christmas Eve," said Barrington, "and I don't have any family, and bunnies aren't any good to anyone." "Bunnies are too good," said the wolf. "Bunnies can hop, and they are very warm." "What good is that?" Barrington sniffed. "It's very good indeed," the wolf went on, "because it is a gift that bunnies are given, a free gift with no strings attached. And every gift that is given to anyone is given for a reason. Someday you will see why it is good to hop and to be furry and warm." "But it's Christmas," moaned Barrington, "and I'm all alone and I don't have any family at all." "Of course you do," replied the great silver wolf. "All the animals in the forest are your family." And then the wolf disappeared. He simply wasn't there. Barrington had only blinked his eyes, and when he looked, the wolf was gone. "All the animals in the forest are my family," thought Barrington. "It's good to be a bunny. Bunnies can hop, that's a gift." And then he said it again, a gift, a free gift. On into the night, Barrington worked. First, he found the best stick he could, and that was difficult because of the snow. Then hop, hop, hippity hop to the beaver's house. He left the stick just outside the door with a note that read, "Here is a good stick for your house. It's a gift, a free gift, no strings attached. Signed, a member of your family." "It's a good thing I can hop," he thought, because the snow is very deep. Then Barrington dug and dug. Soon he had gathered together enough dead leaves and grass to make the squirrel's nest warmer. Hop, hop, hippity hop. He laid the grass and leaves just under the large oak tree and attached the message, "A gift, a free gift from a member of your family." It was late when Barrington finally started home. And what made things worse was that he knew a blizzard was beginning. Hop, hop, hippity hop. Soon poor Barrington was lost. The wind howled furiously, and it was very, very cold. "It certainly is cold," he said out loud. "It's a good thing I'm so furry, but if I don't find my way home pretty soon, I might even freeze." Squeak, squeak. And then he saw it. A baby field mouse lost in the snow, and the little mouse was crying. "Hello, little mouse," Barrington called. "Don't cry, I'll be right there." Hippity hop, and Barrington was beside the tiny mouse. "I'm lost," sobbed the little fellow. "I'll never find my way home, and I know I'm going to freeze." "You won't freeze," said Barrington. "I'm a bunny, and bunnies are very furry and warm. You stay right here where you are, and I will cover you up." Barrington lay on top of the little mouse and hugged him tight. The little tiny fellow felt himself surrounded by warm fur. He cried for a while, but soon, snug and warm, he fell asleep. Barrington had only two thoughts that long, cold night. First, he thought, "It's good to be a bunny. Bunnies are very furry and warm." And then he felt the heart of the tiny mouse beneath him beating regularly, and he thought, "All the animals in the forest are my family." Next morning, the field mice found their little boy asleep in the snow, warm and snug beneath the furry carcass of a dead bunny. Their relief and excitement was so great that they didn't even think to question where the bunny had come from. And as for the beavers and the squirrels, they still wonder which member of their family left the little gifts for them on Christmas Eve. After the field mice had left, Barrington's frozen body simply lay in the snow. There was no sound except the howling wind, and no one anywhere in the forest noticed the great silver wolf who had come to stand beside that brown, lop-eared carcass. But the wolf did come, and he stood there, without moving or saying a word, all Christmas Day until it was night, and then he disappeared into the forest. So that is the story of Barrington Bunny from The Way of the Wolf, The Gospel in New Images by Martin Bell. Wonderful Christmas story. And I want to leave you today with some music. This is a song that I listen to almost year-round in my car early in the morning when I pull out of my garage, often in the dark at 6 or 6:15 when I drive and head to St. Agnes Parish, where I here in our neighborhood, to go to morning mass. And this is called Night of Silence, and it was written in 1981 at St. Thomas Aquinas College by a music student who was on retreat, and he was starting to doubt whether or not he was doing the right thing, being a music major. He says in his story about writing this song that he was feeling like the study of music was becoming very intellectualized. There's a lot of in his mind and in his head about it, and he had lost the connection to music from an emotional perspective. And the story of this can be found on his website called Night of Silence. And this Night of Silence website is also a resource that's dedicated to the season of Advent and the time that happens prior to Christmas, and the way that Night of Silence connects not only to Advent, but then the way that he wrote the music that connects it to the song and the popular Christmas tune, Silent Night. So I wish I could play Night of Silence for you here on the show, but due to permissions and music and all that kind of stuff, I can't. So what I'm going to do in closing our Christmas episode today is I'm going to read the words to you. You get to listen to the words, and then I'm going to put a link in the show notes for you to head over to YouTube and listen to Night of Silence sung by the St. Olaf Choir. They are from Norway. This was recorded live at the Nidaros Cathedral in Trondheim, Norway, and was part of an Emmy Award-winning special St. Olaf Christmas in Norway. And it's a beautiful Christmas song, and it's lovely to watch the choir members singing it. And I think that this is something that you could really enjoy for the Christmas holiday. So here are the words to the first 3 verses of Night of Silence, and I will leave you with this as we close our Christmas episode of Cookbook Love. So it says, "Cold are the people, winter of life, we tremble in shadows this cold, endless night. Frozen in the snow lie roses sleeping, flowers that will echo the sunrise. Fire of hope is our only warmth. Weary, its flame will be dying soon. Voice in the distance, call in the night. On wind you enfold us, you speak of the light. Gentle on the ear, you whisper softly. Rumors of a dawn so embracing. Breathless love awaits darkened souls. Soon we will know of the morning." Spirit among us, shine like a star, your light that guides shepherds and kings from afar. Shimmer in the sky so empty, lonely, rising in the warmth of your Son's love. Star unknowing of night and day, Spirit, we wait for your loving Son. So I want to wish you all a happy holidays, season's greetings, Merry Christmas. We will be back next week with a New Year's episode of Cookbook Love Podcast. I look forward to 2026. Thank you all for being here, and I hope you all have a wonderful Christmas celebration. And as always, keep loving your cookbooks.
Thanks for listening to the Cookbook Love Podcast. You can find out more information at www.cookbooklove.co.